everyone. Welcome to this week's live chat. Let me just check everything is up and running and let's get started, see who's going to be joining me. Now, this is going to be the last Thursday live for a little while, just because it's summer, everybody's off on holiday, everybody's enjoying themselves. So what I'll do instead, I'll do like a monthly cards and I'll do lots of ad hoc lives and lots of little mini videos and keep you up to date that way. So I'm not going anywhere, but probably these weekly lives like this might stop for a little bit. But the podcast's still going to be going. You can still get that every week, and I'll just come on it and do little lives because I know people are busy through the summer and it'll just be good to get short, sharp little bits. So that's how I'll work it. So I'm here for any questions, and just to kind of, before we dive into tonight, let's just reset this group a little bit and just say that we've got some new members in. We've got some people who might have found me from whatever way, shape or form. So let's just set the group up and say what it's about. So I set this community up, and that's what it is. It's a community. It's a place for you to meet other people, to hear different stories, hear different ways of people using manifesting in their life. Because when you start to use manifesting in your life, it can be a bit daunting at first. It's a different way of thinking about things, and it's a different way of being. And sometimes when you do that, the people around you, the closest to you, think that you might have lost your mind a little bit, because sometimes manifesting does go against the grain. So it's so important to have a people around you that get what you're doing. And that's the whole point of this group. So this is your place to totally be yourself, totally get out those big desires and share them with people who get it. Share them with people who are working through the same stuff. Share them with people who are working through the mindset stuff and still wanting to manifest the most incredible things. Because once you get past the fear and all that stuff, there is so much on the other side. So what I want to say is this group is yours to use as you like. Manifesting is all about energy. So the more energy you put into something, the more the universe matches you. So if you've been sat on the sidelines of this group thinking, I want to post, or I want to say things, or I want to share things, or I want to get involved. Get involved. As soon as you start to do things like that, you reach out to the universe. The universe brings you more. So it brings you more good stuff. It brings you more connection. So it's not just a case of having a group that you can post and share in. It's a case of this is a manifesting practice. And this is the big thing about why I wanted to bring this group to you all. That this is about your energy. It's not about mine. I work on that every single day. But it's about your energy, and what you put into things, you get back tenfold. So start to think, how can I really invest in this community and set my manifesting on fire by upping my own vibration, by stepping into it, saying what I want, getting those, sharing my fears, sharing my concerns, sharing your wins, sharing your successes, get them in this group. This is the place to do that. So I hope you feel comfortable. And I want to see you guys start to really use this as a manifesting community to thrive. That's what it's all about. It's all about really stepping out your comfort zone and becoming that person that you want to be. So that's what this group's here for. Make sure you use it. It is yours. The only thing I ask is, no promotion of different stuff. If you run things by me, that's fine. I will let you know whether it's good to go or not. But post any comments, post any funny posts, post any inspiring posts, post your wins, your successes, everything like that. Just get involved. It'll be brilliant. So let's start tonight with a card. So these are that one flew out. These are the Moonology Manifesting deck by Yasmin Boland. So I'll use these because there's some big moon energy going about at the minute. Not like the full moon, that's next week. But we're in the 7/7 portal, so it's like a Sirius portal. And it's kind of started since the 6/6 portal last month. We've had the 7-7 and then we've got the 8-8. Now the 8-8 portal is the big one. That's the Lionsgate portal. And that did open on the 6-6. So we've got all this energy stirring up. And this 8-8 portal is all about this abundance and stepping into these infinite possibilities. So it really is, you know, building up to that energy. So you might have felt old things coming up. You might have felt, you know, things coming up that just have been raised and you're thinking, right, that needs to go now. Just let all the emotional stuff go. Let it all go. And this is what this card's saying. We've got full moon in Pisces, forgive. So forgiveness is not always about saying that something was, you know, so if you think that somebody's maybe done something on you and that is where, you know, you've got all this emotion, you've got all this turmoil, and it's not about you saying that what they did was right. What forgiveness is about is saying that you're ready to be free. You are freeing yourself from that tie. You are freeing yourself from that situation. And forgiveness brings balance. If you look at these two fish, which are absolutely beautiful, it just brings so much balance to your life. So it just frees you from that negative energy, which when we're holding on to something, when we're really holding on tight and we're not forgiving either someone else or us, then what it does is it tips that balance into more the negative, the trauma-based, the repetitive kind of angst and anxiety. Whereas when you say that you are forgiving the person and yourself and you are releasing yourself from that situation, it just allows you to free up all this balanced energy. So that's what it's about. It's not about saying that someone was right, but what it's saying is, you know, you're freeing yourself from it. You are choosing something better. You are shining the light on your new future. Hi, Ginger. So that's tonight's card. And this one is perfect because we are talking about freeing the energy around debts. And sometimes when we're talking about debts, we need to be freed. We need to have that forgiveness. So this week's podcast, I started to talk about the energy around debts because it is such a big topic and it holds so many people back. And I know there's so many entrepreneurs and women in here that have big, big dreams, but they're thinking, well, I can't do this until my debts are paid off, or I can't do this until, you know, that goes. And it's such a restriction that we put on ourselves. And often it's not the debts themselves, but it's our mental mindset around them. It's the mentality around the debts. And it's coming from that lack mentality. It's coming from that mentality that we're brought up with, that is that we shouldn't have debts. And if we have got debts, it's because we've been unable to pay for something. We've done something wrong. We've done something bad. And really, it's brought into society like it's this big negative. So we end up thinking that debts are bad and debts are awful. Now, this is not me saying get into loads of debts and just be really carefree about it. But what it's saying is we need to change the way that we start to look at things so that we can free ourselves like this. We can forgive ourselves and we can move on. Now, debts are something that I've had a strange relationship for years and years, because abundance is constantly flowing to you. Now, you might not believe this and you might be sat there thinking, I'm skint, but you're not. It's constantly flowing. There's always this channel of abundance that is constantly trying to get to you. And remember that, trying to get to you. And how it will get there is in the path of least resistance. So because we are so tuned into it's hard to make money, it doesn't come easy for me, you've got to work really hard, you've got to, you know, have a good job, have a degree, whatever it is to make money, and we have all these rules that we put in place, what ends up happening, hi Jamie, what ends up happening is the abundance can't flow into us. We can't see it. It's like something it's trying to get through, but it just can't come in. So when it comes to debts, often we're programmed to think, you know, money can either come through a job, or you've got to get a credit card, or you've got to get a bank loan, or you've got to get a mortgage. You know, it's one or the other. You've kind of got to, you can earn money or you can borrow money. And we're programmed to think this. And we often end up thinking, Well, that's our only options. So the universe provides the money to you through the debts. That is the way that it can get that money to you. Now, when you think the universe is constantly trying to give you what you want. So your desires, it's constantly trying to give you them. So when you can't physically pay for something in full, but it offers you a credit card or it offers you a loan to choose to pay something over time, it is providing you with the desires. But it's how we view that. So for years and years, I used to think, well, that's me not being good enough. I can't afford to pay this in full. So really, I shouldn't be buying it. But then I really wanted it, or I really desired it, or it was some course or something. So I would then buy it through the debt. And I would have this inner turmoil. And what ended up happening was I built up all this resistance to actually more money flowing in. And it really made money quite difficult. So once I started to develop my mindset around abundance and work on this type of stuff, what I was able to do was see that I've always had the opportunity of the money. The universe brought me the debts, the cards, the loans, whatever I needed to be able to meet my desire, to be able to give me my desire. And the fact that I was then able to choose to pay something off over time, and that's the thing, your debts are you choosing to pay something off over time. Even if you can afford it in full, sometimes we don't want to pay it off in full because you want to keep that money for something else. So you're choosing, it gives you a choice. And once you start to see that this is a choice and actually your desires are being met, and it's not such a burden and it's not a bad thing and you're not a naughty person for doing it, then it suddenly shifts the dynamics and it frees up the energy around the debt and the concept of debt and all of that stuff. And as well, the other thing I talk about in the podcast is this energy around it's how do I explain this? So we think of the things that we've bought sometimes as a luxury. Sometimes as, well, that was frivolous. We shouldn't have done it. We shouldn't have put that on my credit card. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. But remember, your desires want you more. And that can be little desires. That can be big desires. But the thing we've got to remember is we're worthy of all them desires. You are worthy of every single thing you want. You might have been told growing up, who wants never gets. But you are worthy of everything you have ever put on a credit card. You are worthy of your student loan. You are worthy of that education that you got. You are worthy of all this stuff. Like, there is nothing that you have ever bought on credit, store card, anything like that you are not worthy for. And because you bought it at that time where there might not have been another choice on a loan or a credit card, does not make you less worthy than someone that could pay in full. That is not your worthiness status. You are as worthy as anyone else. You are fully worthy of your desires and you are fully worthy of everything that you've ever bought. So you've got to start forgiving yourself where you've got this resentment and anger and you think that you're bad with money or you think that you've done something wrong. You need to start letting all that go. And this is why I love that this forgiveness card has come up tonight, because when it comes to money, we have all of this old beliefs and stories, and that's all they are, the stories that are running around. And when you look at the concept of abundance and the whole concept around money and the energy of money, money just wants to flow to you. Money wants to flow to you constant. All these stories are what's stopping us receiving it. So once we start to understand what these stories are telling us, we can start to free ourselves. So that's the other thing. You are worthy of every single thing that you bought. And you're worthy of everything you're going to choose to buy going forward. So do not think that you're not, and start to look at the things that you've started to think, well, I'm not worthy of. And I see this all the time, especially with people, and I was like this as well, when I first started buying self-development programs. When I first started buying it, you think, I'm spending this much money, I'm putting this on a credit card, This has to be the thing that changes my life. This has to be that person that's going to change absolutely everything for me. And you go into a course or you go into a program and suddenly you've got all this expectation, all this, like, this has to be the thing. And when you're saying this has to be, you can feel the energy and the negative energy and the projection you're actually putting on this, that you're doubting that that will be the thing, and you're doubting that this is going to work, and you're doubting that you should ever have paid that money, and you're doubting that you're worthy of even taking this course, and you're going into this energy of this new opportunity that you've managed to get, this personal development opportunity, and then suddenly you're just going in with this wall, this block, because you've had to put it either on a credit card, or you're thinking, should I have paid that money? Should I have done that? And you suddenly go in with that different thing. Now, no one needs to fix you. No one needs to do anything. You are worthy as it is. But when we start to invest in ourselves, it's daunting, and it really does kind of trigger all these old stories that you have around the money and the aspect of it. So that's one thing. You are always, always worthy. And then the other thing I talk about in the podcast is really stepping into this energy of overflow. So we constantly think, when we're trying to be sensible and we're trying to get our debts down, and so many of us, especially entrepreneurs, we're like, I can't leave my full-time job and start my business fully until I pay these debts off. Or I can't do this until my debts are paid off. And I can't do that till my debts are paid off. And it's constant this resistance around, I have to pay this off. I should pay this off. And we focus the energy on having to pay the debts off. And you might be finding that you're restricting your money every month, and you're trying to get your debts down, and you're working hard at it. And you're suddenly thinking, why is this not coming easy? Why is this every month I'm struggling to find this money to pay this off? And you can feel the resistance. When you feel like you should do something or you have to do something, your body just crumples up and goes, oh, this is the worst thing ever. The last thing I want to do really is pay my debts off. You know, like, when you think of it, yes, I want zero balance on my debts. That would be amazing. But the thought of physically getting money in and just flowing it out to there, getting it in, flowing it to there, that thought just totally repels every cell in my body, to the point where you're like, oh, it's so restrictive, because that's what you think. You think you get a bit of money here and it just goes to the debt. Get a bit of money here, just goes to the debt. And this is where we've got to change the dynamic. So instead of focusing on just paying the debts off, what we've got to focus on is the energy of overflow. The energy of, you have so much money coming in that you can spend it on whatever you want. You can spend it, you can save it, you can pay off debts, you can do everything, because you have so much money that you don't even have to think of the debts being paid off. They're just so naturally paid off because you are opening up to more money coming in than you could ever think. So look at the energy and how I'm talking. Suddenly I'm talking about overflow. I'm talking about more money than I could ever imagine. More money than I need each month. That, yes, I can easily pay money towards that, not even have to think about it, and boom, they're off sooner rather than later. But if I am thinking of the restriction and the limitation and that has to be done, then suddenly my energy crumples up, and my abundance flow just soon sucks up like that well's drying up, it's not getting in. But when you think of, no, I'm going to focus on overflow, I'm going to focus on, I make £10,000 a month easy. I make whatever easy every month, and this flows in, and I don't even need to know the how. I just expect it. This money comes to me every month. I have more money than I know what to do with. I have money to spend, I have money to save, I have money to pay things off. I am so free. It feels so good. And when you start to project that out to the universe, that is what comes. You are opening up and allowing that channel. You can see the difference in my body. And remember, this is all about vibration. Your body and your energy is a good indicator of how you feel. And as soon as you start opening it up, suddenly things start to show up. Suddenly things start to come in, and you just let them flow. And you don't suddenly go, oh my God, I've got this money, I've got to pay it off here. What you do is you keep that energy and you're like, oh, amazing. So what can I do with this money? What can I do with it? Should I put some away? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then suddenly more comes in and more comes in and more comes in. And we do not need to know the how. That is not our job. All we need to do is keep our vibration high, keep following the inspired action, because when you are in that high vibrational frequency, the inspired action flows and flows and flows. But when you're in this restriction and all you can see is, I've got to pay this debt off and I don't know where the money's coming from and I've got to pay it off, suddenly you don't have options and you can't see the wood for the trees. But once you open up, all that money flows and all them ideas come to help you earn it, and then suddenly you've got new courses, new concepts, new ways of making money that have just flown in, or you've met someone that brings an opportunity to you. There is so much that the abundant universe can provide when we step out this energy of the negativity around money, and that debts are a really big one of that. So how's this resonating? I know debts are like money is a really uncomfortable topic for so many people. And this is why I love to be controversial. And I really do love to bring it up because it stalls so many women and it stalls so many people from growing and actually becoming their most amazing self, because it's like, yes, I'll be amazing in all areas of my life, but I can't talk about money. And yet money's the thing that gives us freedom. Money's the thing that gives us choice. Money's the thing that lets you live that life that you want to live without any bars, any holds, anything. And yet we hate to talk about it. We hate to think about earning it. We hate all this stuff and we think, do we actually even deserve it? And it's like, hell yes, it was our birthright. So we need to start talking about it, making it normal, making it sexy, because let's be honest, us heart-centered women need to be the ones in charge of that money in this world. Imagine the good you can do once you get over your money crap. Honestly, it's so much bigger. So hopefully that resonates, and anybody watching the replay, please let me know. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be doing these every week through the summer because I know people are away, and like July, August gets really busy, so they'll probably kick back up in like September time. But I will be doing lives here and there, and I will be doing like the podcast. And as well, I'll probably start to do like a monthly cards or something in the group as well. So try and get things going. But I did set the call up, this is your community. This is your place to share and like get to know each other and really help each other thrive. So make sure you're getting involved. Make sure you're posting. I'd love to hear what you thought of this live. And if anybody has any questions, just pop them in. And also, I am doing the 90-minute one-to-one sessions now. They've opened back up. So if anybody wants to book a one-to-one with me, I will pop the details in the chat. And what we do in there is we go through your big vision and check that you are in alignment and you are ready to embody it and you are bringing that to life. So whether that's in your business or your life, there's a couple of options there. And we dive into it, and really give you a way forward, a way to move into this new space, into this embodied version of you, and bring this stuff to life. So I can't wait to get to know more of you and then. So any questions at all, pop them in and I'll come back and I'll read them. And it's been really good tonight. I love talking about money. I love talking about abundance mindset. So you'll get more and more on this from me. And if there's any topics you want me to cover as well, please let me know, because I'm all open for podcast suggestions. So let me know what you'd love me to talk about, and I will start to use some of them suggestions too. All right, see ya. Bye.